Outcast. I'm your host HC, and with me is.
Wolf.
And Happy New Year, Happy 2022 to all of you listening, because at the time of this recording and upload, I suppose, we are in the first day of 2022, and wasn't 2021 a shit show? But there were some good things, but also there were also
Namely
plenty bad
us.
things. So, you know, we are done with 2021, looking towards 2022 with a bit, I want to say, cautious optimism.
Hmm.
But 2021 still had plenty of stuff we enjoyed, and we want to cover them and give them attention on this podcast because they deserve any kind of attention.
That's right.
So,
We're here for the Outcast Awards.
yay. For some
The crowd
reason,
is very wild.
this makes me feel a lot emptier than it should. But okay.
That joke gets a.
Uh, Said the person who just chuckled at it. So yeah.
I didn't say I had
Um,
good taste. The
yeah.
audience knows better.
Well, and considering the
Plus, we're
choices you're
obvious.
about to bring up to this awards, yeah, you might.
Like,
Who
the
knows? You
Outcast
might.
Awards is so prestigious. We have a live audience right now.
Yeah, sure. Half of it is where you live, and half of it is where I live.
It might be.
Mhm. So anyway, so for those who haven't watched our previous awards shows, like at the end of year episodes, then the way this goes is that we basically talk about five things that we either saw, played, read, or just want to bring attention to in 2021. The order is not necessarily best to worst or something, or worst to best or something like that. Just five things we really enjoyed this year and we want to talk about. We'll also bring up some runner-ups because we can. So anyway,
Should
Wolf.
should note,
Yeah.
very quickly, they don't have to have
Yes.
come out in this year in 2021, but we did have to have seen, played, or read them this year. Also, they
Mhm.
need to have quote unquote finished. This means if it's like, hey, we have a season 2, but it's still ongoing, it started in December and it's still going into January of 2022, then we can't talk about it because that's still ongoing. But it has
Yeah,
to have
so
finished its season or
it's,
finished the show in 2021.
yeah. And for
And
the
we've had to
record,
have watched it.
basically,
So,
I
whatever.
haven't seen it yet. But if any of you are expecting like Arachne or something, as far as I'm aware, that's continuing. That has another season coming up sometime. So even if we have seen it, it can't necessarily count because it didn't finish this year. There's only one season which started this year. So
I mean,
to give an
if the
example.
season finished this year, we can talk about it, but otherwise, no. Or wait,
Mhm.
it's a vague rule. We
And
might break it. Who knows? It's our
I
award
I
show. Get
am
your own.
I'm gonna I'm gonna just say that that I think all of my picks are 2021. So
Most of mine
we
are
shall see.
two, I think. Maybe one or two aren't.
Well,
Some runner-ups definitely
we
aren't.
shall. Yeah. So we'll get to runner-ups later on. But anyway, let's start with number five for you, Wolf. What is your number five
Number
for
5.
2021?
You're making me start? Ugh. I'm not prepared.
If you
You think I
want.
can prepare to our
Oh.
awards show? No, never.
You are the one that suggested we doing our this kind of episode to begin with 2 years ago. So I don't
Lies
know.
and
I hope
slander. I
you.
would never suggest such a thing.
Okay, just
Actually,
say Rescue Riders takes all the spots, and that's it. We move on.
Rescue Riders is number 1, motherfuckers. Let's go. No. Actually,
Yeah.
no. Number 5 is Dragons and Not. No. I
Yeah.
can't. I'm sorry. I
That
can't.
might actually, considering this might actually break the rules since only one season, and even that season doesn't really end. So yeah,
Fair.
not.
Fair. Breaking the rules already. No. Number 5 for me, I think, is going to have to go to Um, oh shit, I lost the
Of course.
name. I'm ready. I'm gonna just do this real quick. Yeah, okay. Here's the list. Number 5 for me, I'm actually going to give to uh, yeah, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I,
Mhm.
it's not the best Marvel show. I'll give that one
No.
to a different one. I think I like the messaging of it. I liked what it's trying to do. I think it has a lot of potential to get a lot better as it goes on, and it's something that we do know is going to get a season 2 eventually. Maybe not anytime soon, but I think they talked about that they do want to do a season 2 of
They
it.
talked. They talked. We also talked about it when we reviewed it and checked the card on top. That it probably leads to a fourth Captain America movie with
Hmm.
Sam Wilson as Captain America this time.
Which would be really interesting. And again, I just enjoyed the messaging of it. I enjoyed the idea of Black Captain Falcon, something that's, as far as I'm
Black
aware,
Captain Falcon? What?
I think I've made that mistake multiple times, and that's the mistake I was trying to avoid making. Captain America, and I
Yeah.
think that's something that's not really been done before. If it has, it's been more recent or more rare. I don't
You
remember
know,
right
like
offhand.
it wasn't done in in movies or shows. It's in the comics a
Ah,
lot that
okay,
Sam Wilson
fair.
eventually takes over and even goes side by side like how Miles Morales and Peter Parker. But
Mm.
um,
But
but
yeah, yeah, I
it's but for the movies, yeah, it is new.
okay, fair enough. I would like to see it then. I think, and again, like I said, I liked the messaging behind it. I liked what it was trying to do, and there's just scenes in that show that I think are really, really strong. Even though the show itself isn't like the strongest Marvel show, I'll admit, I think it has a lot of scenes within it that are really strong. Like watching him practice with the shield, or seeing his, Sam's discussion with Isaiah Bradley, things like that, right? Or his
Mhm.
discussion with the senators at the very end of the show. Like there's a lot of strong scenes within it, and I think it earned number 5 for me because I didn't expect anything major from the Marvel shows, and this one was a strong first contender. I felt, again, nothing
Mhm.
super amazing or super impressive, but but still good in its own right. I felt
Mhm.
so. Number 5.
Okay. All right. So number five for me is also a Marvel property, but it's not a
Unclickable.
movie nor a show,
Oh,
for it's the Guardians of the Galaxy video game.
oh, I've heard good things.
Now, so the thing about that one is that, for those who don't know, Marvel is really trying to push through video games now. Like there were the
Mm,
two Insomniac Spider-Man games, which you should
mm.
definitely play because they're amazing, and and then Square Enix in 2020 brought us the Avengers game.
That one's a
And
game.
while I don't think it's a terrible piece of shit that needs to die, it had
Debatable.
problems. Still has problems.
This is
Plenty
true.
of problems. So when they announced that Square is kind of taking another studio to do a Guardians of the Galaxy game, I was a bit skeptical. And
Mm,
I was so skeptical that I apparently completely forgot that this game was coming out. And I also completely forgot that I actually am such a fan of Marvel that I accidentally pre ordered it. And I completely forgot that it's coming out and that I pre ordered it. And one day I just got a text from the store telling me, hey, your pre order is now available. You can come and pick it up. So I picked it up. I put it inside my PS5, and holy shit, I really enjoyed it. I really liked this game, and as someone who is kind of, my experience with Guardians of the Galaxy is the movies, and
mm.
I haven't read much of the comics, but it still felt like the game was really what, well, again, kind of like how James Gunn showed in the movies, that he knows these characters, he has a passion for these characters, and he wanted to show people why he loves those characters. I felt the same was done in the game. It's really funny. It's fun. it even got me emotional at a few points. And it also just feels like they listened to everything that was wrong with the Avengers game and actually tried to improve it. Like, so really, it may not be the best game I played this year, but you know what? It's definitely the most surprising one and one of the best surprises I had this year. So kudos, Guardians of the Galaxy. You're an awesome game. If you're a Guardians of the Galaxy fan, go play it. Really can't recommend it enough.
Okay, neat. I've heard a lot of good things about that one, so it's definitely been on my list.
Mm-hmm. I think it's on PC, so you can definitely play it.
It most certainly is. You can get it in a lot of different places. And again, like I said, it's been on my list. I've just not gotten around to it yet.
Actually,
so
fun story, quick fun story about going to pick it up. That I pre-ordered the PS5 version because I have a PS5. I got it this year as well, so celebrating that for gaming. But the other thing is that I came to the store and they're like, oh, because of COVID and stuff, there was a problem with the delivery. We only have the PS4 version in stock. And I was like, oh, okay. And then another guy that was like, no, I think we actually have the PS5 at the back. Let me check. Goes to check, comes back with a copy. What luck.
Neat.
Well, I don't know. I just find it really funny. So.
No, that's fair.
Anyway, number 4.
Number 4 for me is I'm going to recommend a book. This is old. This is not from this year. I started recently reading and here's your Wolf Talks About Anime part of the show, just briefly for this one time. Spice and Wolf. A light novel. I've been reading the light novel series of that. I know there's an anime of it. But I was told, hey, read the novels by many people who love this series. So I'm going to talk about it here. I started reading the novels. They're finished, but I've technically not finished all of them. God, there's so many. But I think I've read enough of them at this point to give a decent qualifier for what I have read, which is the first 5. And I'll say that it's a really fun and enjoyable read. It's very much a long burn romance story. And but it also combines that, but it does it very well while also combining it with and making it interesting as well, which is amazing. Like medieval merchant stuff and buying and selling and trying to make profits and traveling merchants and things like that, and making it interesting. How would you do that? This book manages it, but also combines it with a long burn love story between a essentially old god and random merchant, traveling merchant human dude who's just regular human. And, his goal is to get this old, wolf god back to her home. And as they travel together, they fall in love with one another. And it's actually, again, it's a long burn romance that's done extremely well. I'm surprised I liked it as much as I did, but these characters are very likable and very enjoyable. So, enjoyable read. And I'll be interested to finish it and then go watch the anime, which I've heard is also very good.
Very interesting. So, with that said, moving on to my number 4, another video game, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart.
Another one I've heard very good things about.
I am a very big Ratchet & Clank fan, have been, since the second game came out. You don't always start with the first one, but I caught up on the first one and then played each game afterwards. I own all the games and everything, and I was really excited.
All I know, I've seen a bit about this game. All I know is Rivet, furry fan, and I'll admit, I like Rivet too. She's great. I saw the trailer and she was just like, all right, I'm in love. I wish I could play this game, but it's only on PS5. And I don't own one. Like a majority of the rest of you.
Well, I do. Yay! So, anyway. What can you do? So anyway, I still am a very big Ratchet & Clank fan, and
fair.
I own all the games. I beat all of them. Size Metal sucks, And I was really excited to see the series come back on the PS5 because during the PS4 we only had one Ratchet game, and it was also based on the movie which came out at the time. So seeing like the main continuity come back, seeing them pick up right where they left off, um, 8 years ago. Oh God! So seeing them actually pick up the plot and pick up the place exactly where they left off, and just upgrading it, like adding new weapons, new gadgets, and like using the PS5 hardware to really show this is what the next generation holds for us, people. This is just the start of what we can do with video games this generation. And other than that, aside from being just a technically impressive game and a really fun game, which does the franchise it belongs to justice, I really enjoyed this. Like you mentioned, there's a new character named Rivet, and Rule 34's aside, she's a really cool character. I was actually surprised how well they handled her character. It's like we got because sometimes they do like, oh, let's do a character with trauma and just make her just that trauma and nothing else. But it's like, no, she's more than the trauma. She's trying to find. She keeps going despite the trauma. She's doing things that are hard, but she's doing it anyway. And she was a really fun character. Ratchet and Clank themselves are always a delight. Other characters were just wonderful. Really heartfelt story with still the serious humor. I can't recommend this enough if you're a Ratchet and Clank fan. If you don't have a PS5, find someone who has a PS5, play it. I am so stoked to see what else they have in store. And I just want to mention, Insomniac pulled this game out around maybe half a year, 7 months after they gave us Spider-Man Miles Morales. How they did this, I have no freaking clue. I know different teams and stuff, but holy hell, these guys are amazing. Whatever they have next in store, give it to me. So that's my number 4. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. Go play it.
Fair. Very fair.
All right, number 3. Talk to me.
Number 3. I'm going to give it to... I've not seen part 2 yet, but it did come out this year. Masters of the Universe Revelation. Even if I'm just giving it to part 1, it has to be on this list for me somehow, some way, because I did not expect a 5-episode series to do that well. I came into that expecting very little, and I was very much blown away by what it did give me. And I can't not praise it for that, because I came into it, it's He-Man, it's 5 episodes, I don't expect anything major, and what I got was some really interesting character stories that I didn't expect to get, that were extremely well told, and told within a time frame that worked for them. Like, I didn't expect some of those stories or character developments to work in the time frame they gave them, which was, again, 5 30-minute-ish episodes. And I have to give them praise for that alone, at the very least, and say, go watch this show, at least part 1, because it is really well done.
Definitely. We have a review of part 1 in our channel. You can go check it out. And we will get to part 2 because it kind of caught us by surprise with everything else coming out. But I also joined this recommendation. It's a really good show. And like, as someone who's not a fan of He-Man before that, also, we say in the review that the only experience I personally have is the DreamWorks She-Ra show. This really caught me off guard with how much I enjoyed it.
Yep.
So kudos to the show makers, really. Thumbs up. So my number 3? Well, my number 3 is another thing we covered on the show this year. This time a movie, Godzilla vs. Kong.
That came out this year?
Yeah.
Wow. It did. Wow.
It came out this year. It was early this year.
It feels so long ago.
Early. it was it was
2021's
early
been a long year.
2021, but yeah, it came out this year after so many delays, so long, such a long wait. It finally came out. I was so excited for it, and it gave me exactly what I wanted. I think that throughout the year, I watched the whole thing beginning to end like 6 times already, which is a lot for me for a new movie. So again, we have a review. Go check it out. But just as a big fan of Godzilla and also a big Kong fan, waiting so long for a rematch, and they totally delivered. I have no, I don't really know what else to say. Just it's a great movie. Check it out if you haven't, especially if you are a kaiju fan. You won't be disappointed. That's my number 3.
Mm-hmm. Fair. A good choice. It was a good movie. I did enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2.
So, number 2.
Number 2. This one was hard for me. I was very much torn between a couple different ones. And I was going to give it to the Outhouse, but I don't think their season 2 is finished yet, is it?
Season 2 isn't finished, and
So yeah,
I really wanted to talk about it because what we have from season 2 thus far is really some of the best television I've seen this year. But very, very sadly, season 2 is not done. They are currently in hiatus, and I have no idea when they're coming back. At the time of this recording, I don't think there's even a date for when it's coming back. But
shame.
I'm excited. Sadly, not part of the rules.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. But unfortunately, so with that in mind, it had to go to, for me at least, number 2 had to go to something that was, in my opinion, relatively close and really well done, which is another Marvel show, Loki.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
interesting.
The first 2 Marvel shows, we got Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and then we got WandaVision. Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I felt had a lot of promise, and I overall enjoyed it. In WandaVision, I liked at the start, but I'm one of those people who, as they quickly revealed the mystery and didn't really do a whole lot with the sitcom stuff and the meta humor and meta commentary they could have done with that, it kind of fell off for me pretty quickly. Still okay, still nothing wrong with it, fairly enjoyable, but just it fell off for me pretty quick. At that point, the Marvel shows were kind of they're all right, nothing major. Then we got Loki, and I was very quickly won over. Like, the Marvel shows very quickly showed me that, okay, they have something here. I really want to see more of these, especially Loki. Like, it looks like they can do a lot of experimenting with the shows more so than they can the movies, and I want to see where they go with this. I want to see what they do. So, Loki won me over in that regard, and I think, again, expecting not a lot from a villain who has been fun, but not seen an absolute ton of character-wise, you would be, I think, you couldn't fault someone for saying, like, I'm not sure this particular villain can carry a show entirely on his own, but he does extremely well at it, in my opinion. And even what's his name? The other main character of the show, I cannot remember the actor's name ever. Owens?
I don't remember it at the time as well. Sorry, but I know who you're talking about.
I gotta look it up now. It's gonna bother me.
I think the character, I forgot the character's name as well. Damn, it's been too long.
Owen Wilson, yes.
But
I knew it was something Owen. I could not remember it. God, I'm sorry.
Wilson,
I'm terrible.
Yes.
Owen Wilson. I don't remember actor names. Get away. Don't give me crap. It's been a long year, motherfucker.
I suck at names too. Don't worry about it.
Owen Wilson, though, like, he's an all right actor, but he's not the greatest. So it again, like, this show took me by surprise because they did a lot of great stuff, and even Owen Wilson came out looking really good as an actor in this and did really well. So I really enjoyed this. It was really fun. It was a really good show. Like, I have to recommend it. It wouldn't be my exact number 2, as I said. Owl House would definitely have beat it, but per the made-up rules of our show and our award show, can't talk. I'm not going to talk about it just yet for at least this year's awards, so I give it to Loki instead.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna probably annoy you, but trust me, there's a reason for this. Number 2 for me is a tie.
You fence sitter.
I know, but it's really one
You're
of
lucky
those
I don't
things
have a
where,
boo
yeah, okay,
sound
but
effect.
hear me out. Hear me out. It was one of those things that I really wanted to get to give these two things a spotlight. And considering one we already talked about and one we didn't yet, and I want to talk about, I figured, you know what? I'll just say number 2 for me is a tie because because both of those I really enjoyed this year, and I think they really also. Also, both of those things came at the right time for me. So you know what? Fuck it. There's a tie,
That's fair.
and I'll just say one of them is Spider-Man: No Way Home.
Very
You know
fair.
why? If you know me, you know I'm a big Spider-Man fan, and if you've seen our counter Spider-Man reviews, you know I'm a big Spider-Man fan, and you know exactly what I loved about No Way Home because we covered it 2 weeks ago. So yeah, you can check my reasoning there, but to kind of paraphrase it, it was just a love letter to Spider-Man fans. And while it was a love letter with a lot of fan service, it also had a good story and an understanding of the character, and just a lot of great action, a lot of funny moments, a lot of emotional moments. Just wonderful movie. If you are a Spider-Man fan, you're gonna love it. If you're not, there's a good chance you'll enjoy it as well. Go watch it if you haven't, and more details in our review of it. So for the other thing, a show this time, which only season 1 so far, but we'll probably get more, most likely. And it's a Netflix show. It came out this year, and all you need to know is that Alex Hirsch, who is the creator of Gravity Falls and also voices a lot of character there, is one of the executive producers and one of the people who worked under him. I forgot her name at the time. I apologize. She's the creator. I want the other number 2 is Inside Job. Really, if I needed to give like a brief description of this show, it will be something along the lines of Rick and Morty meets Gravity Falls with a bit of Futurama.
That's a mouthful.
Yeah, but
It seems like
that's
none of those things would work well together, but at the same time, they would work well
but
together.
but here's the thing: they work so well together. It's such a smart show in terms of its comedy, in terms of its commentary, and even in terms of the the characters and the relationships between them and the topics it tackles. It's such a good show. And also it came at like this right, those moments where it's like a show just catches you at a good time, and you're in a good mindset for it, and like you're just enjoying the ride. That was the Inside Job for me. It came out at such a good point where it felt like we also kind of needed it. We needed something that's insane. We needed something that's crazy, but it also has this kind of realism that we have, and it just allowed us to let loose, considering everything that's going on with the world there. But despite it being this, aside from it being hilarious and everything, it still deals with a lot of heavy themes, and it does it well. It's one of those rare combinations which somehow works perfectly, and I can't wait to talk about it later on in the show because we are definitely doing an episode about it later on. And all I'll say is that if you haven't seen Inside Job, go watch it. Highly recommended. one of those rare shows that just works, even if it sounds like it won't.
I've been conscripted to watch another terrible show by HC, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it here first.
Just wait until you watch it for the episode, for the review we're gonna do, and you'll tell me it's a terrible show when I'll have two of my friends here to gush about it with. So
A
I
murder's
have
going to
some
happen
guests.
live, ladies and gentlemen. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I feel pity for you. But anyway, these were our number twos. Should we quickly go over
Yeah,
runners
we
up?
got to do some runners up to, prolong the episode, to make the awards ceremony and show
Okay,
that
so
much
just
longer.
yeah, so give me a few runners up. What are your
Runners up for
runners
me, I have two that I can list right off the bat. The Witcher, Nightmare of the Wolf.
Okay.
Anime The Witcher, I came into this expecting nothing and got a really great movie and kind of wanting
Yeah,
more. Like these are two things
definitely.
that I didn't see them combining well, but having seen it now, like, holy shit, that combines really well. Why didn't anyone think of this sooner and do this sooner? We need more of this. And then it came out very late this year, but Witcher Season 2. We'll get there. I was blown
We'll
away
get
by
there
it.
too.
Like, it was extremely well done. Like, I'll say this much. The actress who plays Siri, I was a little iffy about her in the first season. She didn't have a lot, so I wanted to see more of her. She nails it in the second season, in my opinion. She really does feel like Siri, at least a young Siri, anyways. Like, if again, if you were to ask me from this point forward, what do I picture when you say young Siri? It's gonna be her from now on. She is a younger Siri, like I picture her, hands down. And I mean, again, like they nailed the characters they needed to nail, and the changes they made, I very much enjoyed and felt worked extremely well with the story they told here. And I hope they continue to make more changes based on that, because I would love to see them change things up and do things differently, because they've shown the aptitude for that, and they've shown that they understand and get how to exactly do so. So I have to give at least two of my runner-ups to The Witcher, Nightmare of the Wolf, and The Witcher Season 2.
Okay. Any more runner-ups that you just wanna get out of the way, or?
I'll let you go, and then I might have one or two more.
Okay, so video game runner-up, like two of them that I really want to talk about. One is Returnal. So this was the first physical PS5 game I got. Like every PS5 comes with, with the Astrobot game. But Returnal was the first PS5 game I got with the system, which was, a separate purchase, if you will. And it's hard as hell, and admittedly I haven't beaten it at the time of this recording, but I'm making progress. It's one of those things that even if it's hard and it's frustrating to die all the time, when you do manage to make some sort of progress, you feel so good about it, and it keeps you interested with an interesting story and interesting questions about what you're doing, how this entire thing actually works. And it's a really fun game. It's just that I don't come back to it a lot because I have other things to play, and not all the time I feel like getting my ass kicked. But if you're into those really tough games that really require a lot out of you, and you enjoy like the rogue genre, where if you die you need to start from the beginning with basically starts from scratch, I think you are really going to love Returnal. Really, if you have a PS5, highly recommended. And this is like a quick runner-up for me because this was the first rogue game I ever played in my life, so I really enjoyed it. Another one, which is where I'm saying it's not 2021, but I played it in 2021, is the Final Fantasy VII Remake. Like this, I am not big into RPGs, I admit. It's a genre that I can't get into. I can't Now it's my turn to attack. Now it's their turn to attack. Sometimes I attack, but I miss for some reason, and then the enemy gets lucky and kills me in one shot. I can't get into it. To those who enjoy it, go you. Not my thing. But when I started this remake is following more a Kingdom Hearts kind of feel, I decided to pick up the PS5 remaster, which came out this year. And I found myself having a really good time. I enjoyed the story, I enjoyed the characters, I enjoyed the gameplay and the boss battles and everything. And I found myself by the end of it after a bit, surprisingly, I'm looking forward to what they have in store with the next part of it. So you know what? Kudos, Final Fantasy VII Remake. You got me interested in a cult classic.
It's also interesting to talk about that one because they did back in the day, you had Metal Gear Solid, hey, we're coming with Metal Gear Solid 2, and they did a huge thing with their advertising where they advertised Snake. Everyone thought you was gonna be playing a Snake, and then you play as Raiden. It was a huge bait and switch that surprisingly worked extremely well for them, but also got them a lot of shit. But it's Kojima; he can do that shit, right?
With Metal Gear Solid,
But again, it worked for them, and it was genuinely an amazing marketing thing that can only exist in that time.
For them? You say it worked for them, but then you go back to Metal Gear Solid 3, and they're like, no, it's Snake this time, only Snake, just Snake.
It worked for them in a sense of people looking back now and seeing what they did, and giving the move credit where it's due. Like, it's something that only Kojima would think of and could do at that time. But no, granted, at the time, it failed miserably for them. That's why we got 3. But Final Fantasy VII does something kind of similar where they did never really specify that, it's a remaster. They said we're remaking it, but they never really said, it's just a remaster, you can experience blah, blah, blah. And it's really interesting because of what that game does. It is a remake. It's
definitely a remake. Yeah, it's a very much a remake. We should stress. And from what I heard, because one of my friends' little brother, he said that he played the original for the first time only after playing the remake, and he said that apparently where the remake ends, that's only like an hour and a half or 2 hours into the original.
But also the remake does change up the story considerably. So there are things that change within the remake that make the remake way more interesting because now they can potentially do what they want to do. There's a lot of changes they can make if they wish to do so. And it'll be interesting to see where they do and do not go from this point forward.
Yeah.
Because if you know the original story, you know that there's a lot of differences. Not just because it's a remake, just because they're doing something very different, and you can see a lot of the allegories that they're doing with certain elements within the story relating to fans and fan expectations and certain other things. Like, it's a really clever remake, all things considered. Like, it's not something that you would expect, but it's absolutely something that I think is going to be a newer generation's Final Fantasy VII, if you will.
Yeah.
So it's a runner-up that we're talking about quite a bit, but it's worth talking about. Yeah. It's very interesting.
Yeah, because I'll just sum it up by saying that, as someone who haven't played the original because he's not into the genre specifically, when people say that Final Fantasy VII is a fantastic game, I will definitely say the remake gave me that impression, and I'm a fan. Consider me a fan. I'm looking forward to seeing where they go from here.
Fair. Very fair. So 2 more, or at least one more runner-up for me is something that did not come out in 2021 for once on this episode, on this Outcast Awards, is The Ancient Magus Bride. This one, it's another anime. I heard that, oh Lord.
No, I know it was more, I don't know this one.
That's another anime that I would love to cover on the show. I would love to hear your thoughts. But until that time, I'll just say that, it came out in 2017, I believe, and I finally got to watch it this year when I had some free time, and I watched through it, and I very much enjoyed it. It is a very lovely, very beautiful show, I might add.
Mhm.
Very much the the beauty of it, the animation, the art style kind of put me in the mind of Violet Evergarden, but do not go into this thinking that it is Violet Evergarden. It is vastly different.
Okay.
And I would say, in my opinion, Violet Evergarden is better, but I still enjoyed the story and the characters of the ancient Magus Bride as well, and very much fell in love with them. And I think it's a very
Mhm.
interesting story. One
Okay.
other, this is my anime moment here, is something,
Mhm.
a movie, and that would be A Whisker Away.
Oh
I
yeah.
loved that movie. I thought it was really good. I thought it was really
Wait,
beautiful.
we did it this year? Not necessarily
As
when it
far
came
as I'm
out, but we
aware,
did it this year?
that was this year,
Hmm.
yes.
Okay, interesting.
Looking back at
Because I remember also
looking back
enjoying
at our
that
video
one.
list, it says it was 10 months ago, so that would be this year.
Oh, okay. Cool. Very cool. I also really enjoyed that one.
Yeah, I know. 2021's been a long year. It
Yeah,
technically came out in 2020, but I believe,
we saw it in 2021, so that's what counts for this list.
yeah, it was released in 2020, but we covered it in 2021. Or I believe
Mhm,
in Japan it released in 2020 and we got it later. I don't know
mhm.
exactly. Weird. But anyways, point is, right, that I really enjoyed it. I really loved its subject material and how it covered it. It's not the best thing in the world, but still I found it very fun. So it gets a runner-up slot.
Awesome. So just a few quick runner-ups for me. I'll go over them quickly. So one, I think since you mentioned the two other Marvel shows that I've seen this year, I'll just come out and say that I think my favorite, after long considering it, is WandaVision because I
Boo.
enjoyed the,
No, it's
I
fire.
enjoyed the, I enjoyed the uniqueness of it, and I noticed that some people are like, they didn't do too much with the sitcom. They did too much of the sitcom. For me, it worked the way
Yeah.
it was. It's not a perfect show, but like to me, it felt like they gave us exactly what we needed with each episode. And looking back, I just think I enjoyed this one the most because I think I also said in our review of it, Wanda is one of my favorite characters from the MCU. So I was happy to see her given the spotlight, and also I enjoyed that it's kind of setting her up for the next Doctor Strange movie, which is coming out next year. But
Mhm.
again, it was so refreshing to see a show that starts and ends in the one season. Like,
Mm.
and that's it. Like the setup you could ignore completely, and it wouldn't really matter to anything. It's just that we had a show which ended, and I feel I really enjoyed is it perfect? No, there are problems, but for what it was, I really dug it, really enjoyed it. That's my favorite from the Marvel shows which came out this year.
It
So
should be clear, right? It's rare, right? And it does deserve the praise for it to get a show that starts and ends with one season and feels complete with that one
that's what I
season.
said.
Ah, I missed
And
that part. My
especially,
fault.
and because I also ranted about this a few episodes this year that I'm kind of sick of this entire. Let's have season one be like a setup for the future and end on a cliffhanger to be. It's like, can we also get just a complete story for once?
Never.
Um, apparently never. This is the only one. So for us, kind of animated movies kind of spiel. So quick rundown of a few animated movies I've seen this year, which I think really deserve the attention. One of them came out on Netflix from Sony Animation by the same crew that brought us into the amazing Into the Spider-Verse. The Mitchells versus the Machine. Really
Huh.
clever, really fun, really beautifully animated movie. I had one minor gripe with it, but it doesn't kill it. Still wonderful. Go watch it. It's on Netflix. Check it out. The other one from Pixar, Luca. Basically, imagine if Pixar tried to do a Ghibli movie where
Hmm.
the stakes aren't high. It's a simple story. you just watch these characters be characters, and try to achieve simple goals, and deal with kind of everyday life with a touch of fantasy in there. Really great movie, a really fun time. Check it out. And the other one, which just recently came out, and I can't recommend it enough, Encanto, the latest
Yes,
Disney
yes, I've
animated
seen that
movie.
one. That
Oh,
one
you've
is,
seen it?
yes, I've seen that one. That one is amazing.
Yeah,
That one
like,
blew me away.
yeah, I will get to this in a bit, but Disney also disappointed me this year. We'll get to it, but this is what I love about Disney. Amazing
Yeah,
animation, great songs, fantastic characters, and and
wrapped
also
up in a really good story.
a really good story with a good message too, I feel.
Hmm.
I Because in a world like today, I feel like this is a good message to tell people. We won't get into this here, but I really want to give to say watch Encanto. I'm not sure if it's in my top 10 Disney movies yet, but it's a close competitor to get into this top 10. So like Encanto, wonderful movie.
Yeah,
These are my runner-ups.
that's fair. Some good runner-ups. So,
Mhm.
ladies and gentlemen, are you ready
Number
for
one.
number one? I think they're ready, HC.
Yeah, I think they may have slept through the honorable mentions, and as you press the button for number one, you woke them up. So good,
Huh.
they're awake.
I had to give them
So,
their cue. They're a
so
very
yeah,
silent
number
audience. We
one.
have a really good live audience.
hmm So our number one, give it to us before the electric shock on the audience goes away.
My number one is Resident Evil Infinite.
If you know something, if you were serious, I would freaking log off right now.
No. Fortunately not. My number one, I have to give it Arcane. Like, that
Okay,
was a
I
show
haven't
that
seen it, but
you say we're absolutely covering Inside Job. We're absolutely going to cover Arcane at some point.
I knew we will because everyone is talking about it. So
I mean,
I
and
know
deservedly
it's a thing.
so. Beautiful
Mhm.
animation, beautiful art style that works really well together. A great soundtrack, minus some pop songs that they could have done without, but
Okay.
nitpicky. But
Gonna be interesting for me because I love silly pop music.
eh. But
So let's see.
again, beautiful animation, great characters, great story, all coming from a source material that you wouldn't expect this from, that you don't probably, that many people I think walked into, it might be fun. It can't be any
Mhm.
worse than some of the other video game stuff we've got out there, and it blows it away. Like, it is
Mhm.
genuinely amazing and deserves the praise that it gets. Like, it's
Mhm.
this will probably be you'll probably have seen Arcane in a lot of people's top ones for 2021,
Yeah,
and a
and
lot
not
of people's
necessarily
most anticipated
people.
shows for
Yeah,
season two.
people definitely talked about it a lot. So I know we will cover it. It's just that I need to get to it
No, no,
when
that's fair.
it's relevant.
I know that's fair.
Mhm.
It's just that, again, you'll probably see it in a lot of people's top ones, and that's deservedly so. I feel like there's not a lot you can complain with in regards to this show, at least in regards to its first season. There's some, again, there's no show's perfect. There's a few things that you can draw here and there complaint wise, but for the
Yeah.
majority, I feel those complaints don't take away or hinder the show very much at all, and you'll still find a
Mhm.
lot of enjoyment from it. So I cannot recommend Arcane enough. It gets my number one
Okay.
spot.
Awesome. So my number one, while Wolf is pandering to the crowd by choosing a popular thing, I am
Listen,
going.
I spend most of the year pissing them off. I got to win them back over somehow so I can piss them off most of the year next year or this year.
Well, my number one is something that also a streaming movie. It came out on Netflix
Have you seen our live
exclusively
audience?
on Netflix.
They're carrying pitchforks and torches, HC. They're cheering
Well,
because they're
fuck them.
waiting to
I
get
don't
me.
care.
they're cheering because they're waiting to get me for pissing them off all year. And then I say, I loved Arcane. It's my number one. And they're like, fine, we'll put the pitchforks and torches away.
Well, you see, I'm making sure they didn't bring them for nothing. You're welcome.
Good thing I sold them to them. So doubling down, making
Yeah.
good money here. Thanks. I appreciate it.
Yeah, sure thing, dude. It's the year of giving. But anyway, so I'm gonna be, not necessarily an unpopular opinion or something, but I feel this is a movie that didn't get as much attention as it deserves. I know some people saw it, they told me they like it, but it's not one of the ones that people will necessarily talk about. So, but considering it was a really special movie for me when it came out, and a friend I saw it with, and just everything about it I really enjoyed. Vivo.
I was going to do a sound effect bit, but I have no clue what this movie is. So,
So to those of you like Wolf who don't know what Vivo is, so Vivo is an animated musical which is on Netflix. It's from Sony Animation again, who brought us into the Spider-Verse and the Mitchells versus the Machine. And it's like I said, it's an animated musical written, and the main character Vivo is also voiced by our
Lin-Manuel Miranda.
I was trying to the voice of this generation, because he is awesome. And if you haven't checked out some of Lin-Manuel Miranda's stuff,
not good enough
go
until
do
he
it.
Until he sings the Rescue Riders theme. Still waiting, Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Let's say he won't, but
he will. We have the clout.
And also, he wrote the songs for Encanto, so you agree that he's great. There you go.
I changed my opinion. He's terrible. Encanto's awful. Hated it.
You see, people, you brought the pitchforks for a good reason. Get them.
Shit. I take it back.
I love to win. But anyway, Vivo, it might not be, the most groundbreaking film ever, but it's really sweet. It's really funny. It's emotional to the highest degree. You are not going to get through this movie without crying. I am willing to put money on it. And, great songs, great beats, just a fantastic time. It's one of those movies that I can put on whenever, and I'll just enjoy it all over again. Great movie. Can't say much enough. Just that, sometimes even the little movie which didn't make much noise needs a moment to shine. So Vivo is my number one. Let it shine for all it counts.
Very fair. I have to admit, I had never heard of it until you mentioned it here. It completely went under my radar. I'll have to give it a watch.
Okay. Yeah, you should.
If only it wasn't starring Lin-Manuel Miranda, who's not sung the Rescue Riders theme yet. Shame.
So what you're implying is that the actress voicing the main character in Arachne, she definitely sung that theme at some point. That's what you're saying.
No, I'm saying that when Lin-Manuel Miranda has to sing the Rescue Riders theme, or he's just not good enough.
Why
I
doesn't
gotta
the
keep
main
up my
character
Lin-Manuel Miranda.
No. So why he's not getting the pass, but that chick does?
Who?
The main character from Arachne, or the actress playing Siri in the Witcher show, which you just said you really grew on.
She gets a pass because she's playing a really good Siri.
So
I don't make the rules. I just talk about them.
But okay, if we're on the topic of hating, before we kind of talk about stuff that we're looking forward to in 2022, anything that disappointed you this year? Anything you look back at and say, man, I didn't like this?
I'm gonna be honest. I don't watch too many shows that, oh god. So I honestly tend to have a lot of fun no matter what. So it's hard to disappoint me. It's hard to like make me. There's very few shows that I've watched where I can actively say, or movies or games or anything that I've taken part in where I can actually say, God, I hated that and wish I'd never bothered. So, so it's hard for me to say that. I will say I've ragged on Disney a lot this year, and my list this year has included a lot of Disney. So I'm a hypocrite, I know, but
You
I still
know,
stand by it.
you said that it included a lot of Disney when really, yeah, Disney technically owns Marvel, but it's not technically Disney. You
I
know,
mean, it's still Disney
it,
owned though, and
yeah, fair,
I
fair.
fair play. I have to call myself out where I need to be called out at. But I still stand by it. Disney can do better. I do expect better of them, right? And I think a lot of people do at this point, and that's completely fair, and they should, because Disney can do better, because Disney can do a lot more. Like, speaking on, I think if anything, I was disappointed by certain companies' actions, and Disney being one of them, like canceling the Owl House for the sole reason that
Mhm.
it doesn't fit our image. Regardless of what
Yeah.
they may or may not mean by that, it feels wrong to cancel that show before it ever gets the chance, because that show
Hmm.
seemed
It's
to be
not
doing
just that,
amazing, but yeah,
you know,
other
it's
stuff on
not
top of
just
that
that.
as
I
well.
think
Yeah,
it's not just that they canceled that, even though, don't get me wrong, I'm sad they canceled that, but it's also that season three is apparently just completely reduced. Like for season one and two, we get like 20 episodes, let's say, maybe even, I don't remember exactly, but something around 20 episodes. And then season three is just gonna be six longer episodes. Like there will be 6 episodes, each one of them lasting 40 minutes. Which, okay, these are longer episodes, but it still feels like they just cut it short in order to get it done. Like they're trying
hmm
sabotaging it in a sense.
and it's a shame, right? Because this is a creative vision from someone who's done extremely well thus far, and I think deserves to have that creative vision realized to its full potential. And
And
it's a
who
shame
knows,
she
maybe
won't get to.
yeah, but this is also one of those things that the Owl House at the time of this recording is still going. We still have
This is
a
true.
half of season two left, and we don't know what season three is going to be like. So who knows? Maybe the vision will come out in other ways. It's just that just because it was tampered with doesn't mean they can't change some. They can't like find some loopholes or something. The fact we
hmm
even got what we got with the Owl House so far is quite amazing. To those
hmm
who watch the half of season two, which aired, we'll cover season two once it's complete its run. But to those who watched what we have from season two of the Owl House up to this point, we got a lot of good stuff in there, and it's kind of amazing that Disney even approved some of those. So
Fair.
take what you can get, I suppose.
But
But
yeah,
speaking
sure, take
of,
what you can get, but do look for more. Don't
yeah,
expect the bare minimum. Do expect more.
yeah, of
Expect and
course,
want more, right? And you know, to be honest, though, I will say, right, for a year that we did mention has been kind of shitty, has been long. We did, I feel,
hmm
get a lot of good shows and a lot of shows that did some
definitely,
really amazing things. And I
yeah,
feel like pushed
and
some boundaries forward, and I want to continue to see more of that.
agreed, definitely agreed. But since we're in the disappointment segment and we are talking about Disney, I did hint towards that.
Uh oh.
Then I can't finish this year without talking about one of the first movies I saw this year. And in my opinion, a complete disappointment from the mouse, Raya and the Last Dragon.
Ooh. Yeah.
I know a lot of people like this movie, and by all means, continue to enjoy it. I am not saying you can't. I can see why you would enjoy it, but considering the bar Disney set for themselves and considering the bar of the things they are trying to imitate, Raya doesn't even compare. It's not even a competition. It's, something, I had a talk to about this with one of my friends, and we basically just agreed that this entire movie is an Avatar: The Last Airbender crack fic with a budget. That's what this movie is.
Careful. There's another famous YouTuber who said something similar who got deservedly a lot of shit for it, but also
I know about
undeservedly.
the Lindsay Alice thing, and honestly, the people who went after her for this are honestly idiots for one,
Uh,
and two, something. Again, the friend I mentioned, it's Jaya, who was in a few podcasts with
hmm.
us.
I mean,
Um,
it's worth stating, right? Like, oh, go ahead.
I just want to point out
Go
that
ahead.
I've seen the movie with her. She agrees with me on everything, on every negative thing I have to say about it. And if you want to say something about the representation and everything, well, keep in mind that she's from an Indian family, which, if someone is going to notice that the representation of South Asia isn't correct in this movie, it's gonna be hell.
Which is fair.
And I have and then I have another friend who's also from South Asia. I don't want to say country, but she also watched this movie and she was like, "No, this is not a good representation." So you can talk about it as much as you want. If the people being represented are telling you this is not a good representation, this excuse doesn't work. But other than that, representation aside, the story, it doesn't work. Raya, you know how I said earlier about Rivet in Ratchet and Clank, that it's a character with a trauma that's not defined by the trauma. She's trying to, you see her struggling with it, but it's not her main character trait.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Raya is the complete opposite. Her trauma and her trust issues are the only thing she really has in terms of being a character. And it kind of goes and they kind of go half in half with the fact that she's not trusting of people and needs to learn how to trust when she trusts how many people throughout the journey. Also, the dragon is annoying. There's only one character I really like in this entire movie. The main, like the villain, quote unquote, is not even a good villain. It's basically take a Dora and Katra from the Shira DreamWorks show and completely ignore the thing that made this their interaction so likable. And the main thing with this is that this is supposed to be Disney. This is supposed to be like the top bar. When you think of animation, you think Disney. You think that there's a bar.
To be
And then
fair, when you think animation, you think
wait,
Disney. That movie does have amazing and beautiful animation.
yeah, but it doesn't save the fact that
No.
everything else has been done better in other shows, other
Yeah,
movies, other everything.
this
This
is
is
fair.
not what I'm not saying that Disney are the kings of originality or something, but when everything about this movie was done better in other stuff, this is where I say no. You need more than just the brand name and saying we're progressive than to actually impress. And I'm sorry, this movie just really disappointed me. I was honestly devastated watching it. It was. And speaking of disappointments, from the mouse to the ogre, maybe you will see saw this was coming. Troll Hunters: Rise of the Titans.
Fair, fair. I wasn't
Not
disappointed by
not
that,
the
but
worst
I do get why you are or
not the
were.
worst movie ever, but considering the ending for it is was a complete sour point for me, which is just the worst possible ending you can do for this kind of franchise. I was left disappointed by it, and as someone who I didn't watch Troll Hunters when it first aired. I jumped on the bandwagon a bit a bit later on when season 3 came out. But at the same time, man, what what an unfulfilling finish for me. What a disappointment.
Fair.
So,
Very fair.
so
Oh, I actually did think of one disappointment.
sure, share away.
We didn't get Dragon Prince season 4 this year. We're still
Well,
waiting.
still waiting. 2 years later, still waiting. Maybe not. Maybe this year. We can only hope.
Actually, did we watch that show this year? Did that come out this year? I gotta see.
What's
up.
the show?
I'm curious. And no, that was last year. Okay, fair enough. Never mind. Ignore me. I was going to say Cursed, but no, that was last year.
That was last year. Okay, but on that, so
the year felt long, but
note,
not that long.
Yeah, I remember this was last year because I remember we talked about if this is just a fine show or if it's a fine quarantine show, that like it's a fine thing to just watch while you're stuck at home. So kind of relevant, but also kind of don't. On that note, anything you're looking forward to in 2022?
Well, I would say Arcane, but that's not coming out in 2022. They've already confirmed that. So,
okay.
You know,
well, shit.
There's so many anime that are coming out. I can't even begin to list them all here, so I'm not going to. But there's quite a few different anime that are getting season 2s or getting or continuing their seasons or just coming out that I'm very interested in and would love to see more. There's just so much. Like I wouldn't really know, and some things they've kind of finished, so I can't say, oh, it's kind of done. It's not getting anything else. So I don't know. Like there's a lot, and I don't know everything that's coming out, to be honest with you. I don't really keep up with it. I just, oh, this is coming out. Cool, I'll watch that. Oh, this is out now. Cool, I'll watch that. That's how I do it. I find things.
Okay. So for me, well, if you know me, you probably know that there are 3 big things that I'm waiting for next year, and that's the second Sonic movie, Sonic Prime, and Sonic Frontiers. It's gonna be
Knuckles.
A big. Yeah, we're gonna see Knuckles in the second movie, and
no, sexy Knuckles, because Idris Elba has made Knuckles sexy. We all know it. Idris Elba said he's going to do his best to not be sexy in that movie, but we all know it's Idris Elba. He can't not do that. It's impossible.
Well, you already have the trailer where you can hear his voice, and people have already said he lied about it. So
I know.
He did. I am not gonna comment.
All
I'm gonna say is that I'm really excited for it. It looks great. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how they'll do Knuckles, and obviously having Tails there is exciting.
I can't believe I'm going to say it, but I'm actually kind of excited for that movie too. Thinking about it, I do want to see it. A Sonic movie.
There you go.
Fuck me.
Sure. I'll send Idris Elba with his sexy Knuckles voice to do that. So
I'm okay with that.
Okay. And so 3 big Sonic things this year. The second movie, the new Netflix show called Sonic Prime, and the new game. So there's that, and it's done by Man of Action, the people behind Ben 10 and the original Big Hero 6 comics. So that sounds really interesting. And also Sonic Frontiers, the new game, looks interesting too. We don't know much about it yet, but from what they showed,
I'm open world game.
I'm interested in seeing how they'll pull. Yeah, no, it's not gonna be Sonic 06.
Oh, no. I hope it is.
No, it won't be, and I can assure you it won't be. Even if it won't be the best game ever, it won't be 06.
Listen, we've had like bad Sonic games, but there's not been a bad Sonic game in some time. HC, we need another one.
No, we don't.
We need another one so we can remember that Sonic is this weird amalgamation of sometimes good, sometimes bad, sometimes truly awful, and then sometimes really good. And it's just this pot that's all mixed together and coalesces into this weird thing. We need it. We need a horrible Sonic thing again.
Or how
I
about
want
I'll
it.
just get a year with, or how about I'll just get a year where everything that Sonic has his name on it is good. I'll try
I
and believe in
refuse
that,
to
but
let you
I'm
have that.
also,
I refuse.
but I'm also, well, I refuse to have you exist. How about that? I
Fair.
refuse. I refuse Rescue Riders being good or tolerable or better than Nine Realms thus far.
But
Let's.
yet it is.
Well, we shall see. We shall see. Speaking of which, as much as I was critical of that show, if I'm interested in seeing where they'll take Dragons, the Nine Realms.
True,
I'm
I am
interested
too.
in seeing what they have in store for that. Like maybe they can completely buy me. I don't know.
Yeah.
And another thing I'm really looking forward to this is Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Ah, I don't think it's it's much to guess that I really love Into the Spider-Verse. So obviously waiting for
Very
the
fair.
sequel, which also looks amazing. Yeah, just give it to me. I am so ready for it. And also, there are a bunch of other stuff that's coming out next year. So, like, I know that the new Horizon game, Horizon 2 Forbidden Forest, that's coming out in February, I think. There's the new God of War, God of War Ragnarok coming out at some point. There are a bunch of things coming, and it's just a matter of trying and find the time to play everything and watch everything. But we'll do our best, and if we think something will make a good episode, we'll let you know. So
I mean,
that,
I have one thing I am looking forward to. Ruby Volume 9, I
yeah,
will admit. And in general,
yeah,
like I'm looking forward to hopefully another year like 2021 where ignoring again how shit it was, how long it felt. I do hope
yeah.
this year is better, but I do hope we continue to get shows that push boundaries because I feel like we did get a lot of shows this year that did try to push boundaries, and I hope we continue to get that. I hope we continue to get more boundary pushing, more shows that are even more inclusive and do and try and tackle, you know, uh, things that that many other shows just haven't or have refused to for whatever reasons. I hope we get shows that are willing to tackle more mental health issues and mental health illnesses and show them in lights that aren't terrible, that where they do their best to show them extremely well and show
Speaking
the
of
problems
that,
of them.
like for Xbox One players, I think the second Hellblade game is coming out, and
Mm-hmm.
the original Hellblade is one of those games that's really highly regarded as one of the best representations of mental health,
Mm-hmm.
which is also the reason why it scared me too much that I couldn't play it past the first half hour. But I'll need to get to it. But to Xbox One players, and I think also PC, the sequel to that is coming out. So I'm interested in seeing how that will fare.
Yeah, agreed.
And actually, one more looking forward to, kinda, in terms of the games, because I've just seen that name pop up in my library. Ubisoft, come on, where's the Prince of Persia Sands of Time remake? Like, you promised this in 2020, and
It's the
then you
same
said it was a
place
year
where
late,
the what is the other
and
game
then
they're remaking?
Ubisoft is remaking another thing. I
Well, not
never, I
remaking, but
don't.
they're like it's the reboot. Oh, what is it? Shit, I cannot remember the name of it.
I have no idea what you're talking about, but I'll just say that, come on, the Prince of Persia needs a comeback, and even if it's just a remaster, I'll freaking buy it. I want the Prince of Persia back. It's been more than a decade now. It by the time this remake will come out, supposedly, it will be 12 years since the last one, the last main one. Why not bring him back already? People want the Prince of Persia back. Give us our boy back. Fuck Assassin's Creed. Give me the Prince of Persia.
It's a sequel that I'm talking about. Beyond Good and Evil. That's where the Prince of Persia
Yeah,
remake is.
actually,
It's the
you know
same
what?
place Beyond Good and Evil 2 is, which is there, but you'll never see
Yeah.
it or get
But
it.
something beyond good and evil 2 really pisses me off on a side note because like they announce it as an actual sequel and then it's like, it. You know what? It's a prequel now. It's a... Actually, though, speaking of
It
that,
will never
Beyond
get
Good
them.
and Beyond Good and Evil 2, I think. I'm not sure if it's a matter of we'll never get, but at this point, considering Michel Ancel retired from video games, I really doubt Ubisoft cares. But Prince of
No.
Persia, come on.
I mean, again, same place where Beyond Good and Evil is. You're never gonna get it.
I so hope it's not true, but whatever. You know, it's
I
one
mean,
of those things that
as
you're
far as
probably right.
Ubisoft is concerned, you already have it.
If you're gonna say it's Assassin's Creed, I'm gonna punch you. Okay, but anyway, that's all for this episode of the Outcast. We hope you enjoyed it. Hope your 2021 was a good one, and may your 2022 be better in any regard. What are the things you enjoy the most about 2021 when it comes to shows, movies, video games, books, whatever? You can tell us all about it in the comment section below, on our Tumblr, which is Berkcast Team, and on our Twitter, which is Berkcast with a capital B, capital C. Also, tell us what you're looking forward to in 2022. So until next time, I was HC.
I was Wolf.
And we will see you all next time. Take care.
Bye-bye.